What is up, and welcome to Into the Smoke, North America's premier, I guess, hate train after last week. But I guess we owe NRG some credit where credit is due. But today on the desk, we got Pat, Davis, and CJ is back from the beloved South America.
Hello.
Basically.
Yes, I've returned.
Yeah, you're not
I'm America's last hope, and I'm here.
That's true.
He's back to take Counter-Strike.
Pat really should be America's last hope. He's the only one that believed in him. NRG moved on. Quite impressive.
Kudos to me, I guess,
Yeah.
Obviously, this is the NA Renaissance. We've already talked about it.
Yeah, we're back, better than ever. The first thing we're going to hop into today, though, is going to be a little bit of a Twitter action. So we want to bring up some of the biggest tweets from the past week. The first one, obviously, simple, number one in the name, number one in the game, but didn't look like it in this clip here.
Crazy, bro. You can plant safe, bro.
Lovely plant spot right there on the backside. Crazy.
It's all coming out.
You could hear simple, not in love with that. It seemed like there was some issues with the team. They made a good run. They actually made it deeper than a lot of people anticipated, but you could see those frustrations at times. It looked like we were seeing vintage simple, but with three questionable teammates at times. Yeah, my thoughts are, is this sustainable moving forward? Do you think we should give them more time, or what are your thoughts, Davis?
I think it's sustainable. I think, like you said, I think they need more time is the main thing. I think there's a lot of positives that they can take away from it. They made it out of stage one, made it to stage two. They took a map off the major grand finalist of FaZe. They also took Vitality. They had a pretty good map one against. Map two was not very good, but the Dust, they had good moments. So I think there's a lot of positives to take away from this. I mean, this is a team that was ranked number 44 coming into this event, so not very high expectations going into the event. I think they have some positives, obviously some things they need to work on, but I think they have the pieces to maybe get some stuff done.
Yeah, I just like watching this team. I think we all kind of say, hey, simple playing is really cool. I don't necessarily love the leadership of Electronic and Simple, though. They're like that. The other three on the team are definitely amateurs that are trying to find their place within this group. And I would imagine there's a lot of pressure on them. And so they end up in all these weird spots because of it. I think we saw Craze make some plays and then some bad plays in the back end of it, too. But they also kind of got screwed by the bracket a little bit. I mean, going against Vitality, who's clearly the number one team right now, is tough. And then, I mean, playing a close series kind of against FaZe at times, right? Like, I think it ended really badly, but at times I was like, oh, they could definitely pull this out. But I love the fact that the fandom of this team is kind of spreading through everything. I think it's really fun to watch them. And like, when I see them playing, it's kind of like the Falcons for me and Davis. Like, if the Falcons are playing, like, I'm really excited to watch the match a lot of times, or FaZe. So they kind of fit the bill for me from a watching perspective. I want to watch them. So
What does the number one simple hater have to say?
Yeah, I'm not the number one simple hater. What do you mean? I enjoyed watching BC games. I do think they did get screwed by the bracket because, I mean, even with the Vitality matchup, is then once you lose that, like we talked about before, their best shot was to beat Vitality if they wanted to go through. And once they lost, it was pretty much game over for them right there. I mean, I foreseen them having a chance against FaZe. And sure, it was a sloppy match and, a lot of things were done wrong as we saw in the clip. But I think there's definitely potential there. I don't know how high the ceiling is. I think Simple, obviously, he's doing pretty well. I think he's starting to get back into form, and if he continues to keep playing and giving an effort, I think the team could definitely be like within the top 20, and we could reasonably see them into stage 2, stage 3s at majors, maybe even potentially playoffs for some games. But I think getting that like actual trophy win is going to be a bit of a challenge for them right now because, I mean, their team does look a little lost, like their calls are getting a little frustrated. Simple obviously gets frustrated in the game, and, it's just Electronic, it's kind of like a little toxic duo there sometimes. So their team either got to pull it together or this is some elaborate thing that they just took that core to get VRS points, and then we're going to slowly see some other things maybe play out in the future.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because this is one of the first time we've really seen Simple kind of be uncharacteristic in the sense of, like, after that game, he immediately took out his phone, went to the literal VOD of the stream, went back, and then was showing Crazy and Taz some clips from the game of, like, hey, either this is what we did wrong or what we should change. Where it's like normally he would just be kind of angry and vent and sulk and probably send out some tweet or something like that. So it is kind of good to see that a little bit more of like a mature side on that piece. But I also think these players, like, you're going against, like, the whole broadcast is Simple versus I Will. Like, they don't care about anybody else, even Electronic. And it's like, if you're the other players, it's like the moment you start doing bad, it's like, oh yeah, they're just going to say it's a Simple show. Like, I'm certain that's got to be hard to get in your own head about. And it's going to be hard to sustain that. And that's where I think if they get better plays and they get better setups, because this clip is an easy example of you're planning a weird retake setup on Dust, and you're not planning correctly. You're in the heat of the moment. Weird things happen. Simple missed the molly, whatever. But, like, those messy things you cannot do if you want to make brackets. You cannot do if you want to make lands. because you're going to be playing Aurora, you're going to be playing Falcons, you're going to be playing Vitality, you're going to be playing FaZe. These teams that have done it time and time again, and just the Sol core just feels a little weak to me currently. That's not to say they won't be. I hope we give them time, and either that or Simple needs to be extracted and put on a good roster. Those are the only two options.
Go ahead, Davis.
One thing I think is really interesting about it too, I can't remember which series it was after, but Muterus was being interviewed, and he was talking about his forming his play style to Electronic and Simple, and trying to figure out with him as the IGO, who's going to be making the actual calls, who's going to be running the show. And I think that's really one thing that's really difficult for him, because we've talked about it on a lot of shows before. It's he's an IGO that doesn't really have that establishment to be like, hey, my program works, you guys buy into this program, we win. He doesn't have that, and so it's going to be really a pull, and it's going to be hard to figure out who's going to really make the calls. If you have Simple, who's the GOAT of Counter-Strike, he's going to want to have a voice and say, no, this is the play that we're running. But if your IGL wants to run a completely different play, and the other 3 players are used to his playbook, what do you do? Who do you pick?
No, 100%.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to watch him play again. I mean, obviously, they're going to get some VRS points from this, so they're going to be a little bit more high ranked. Hopefully, they get some more invites so we see them again. And ultimately, I still believe in the players on this roster that they can improve. Once again, these are tier 2 players that have kind of jumped into the next stratosphere. And there's a learning curve. We've seen it with, it took Jacob a little while to get into it, and he's looked better. And so there's just, this adapting into their new environment. And this is their first time really looking at a lot of these big teams. So
it's also tough too, because we get a driver's seat look at this. Is the first time the world has been cheering for an amateur team to get into the big league. So you kind of get to see the trials and tribulations, because they look good at this, but they don't have a current next scheduled match. We don't know when they're going to play again. And that is because that is how it is to be an amateur team. You're going to play in some random one-offs, and things are going to happen. But I think it'll look good moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next one we want to hop into is, this is basically Pat's story here. oSee on NRG has been popping off. Honestly, looked like one of the best players in the tournament. This is Maui's tweet on basically saying their stock is at an all-time high. Please do not gut this roster. Please do not take him to a European squad. But, dude looked great. NRG looked great overall, and me and Davis both last week had them being an absolute drop. Pat called them money in the bank, absolute lock. So, take your flowers, brother.
I'll take my NA flowers. We're supposed to be the NA show, as I always say, but there's always a lot of NA hate for some reason. But no, NRG looked good, specifically oSee. I was really impressed. I had them going through that bracket because I felt like the teams they were going against weren't that much of a challenge. I didn't foresee the next outcome, which was their close game with the Falcons. That was a really interesting one, which we all know Falcons are a great team, and we know sometimes they are kind of here and sometimes they're kind of here. And, in that match, they seemed definitely on the lower end. But NRG was playing a really good game. And just like I think it was Nitro said in the interview after, it's just they had a couple sloppy moments. Their T-sides, on the furnace stuff, are not looking too good. But I think if they keep this core together and they work on those things, I think they definitely have a potential here to be better than, a Team Liquid. So I'm all for it. oSee, obviously, phenomenal player. I'm all for the Americans. So let's go. Not just NRG. We got M80. I think M80 has potential as well. Passion UA is kind of questionable, but I'm still going to root for him either way. But, hey, I think there's potential here that maybe playoff brackets in the future here for North America.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that team was too far away from being a 3D Max, from being a bad Aurora, for being a Mongolz even. It seemed like that team was pretty close to being that. And those teams on their good days, they make brackets, they make deep runs, and I definitely think part of this event, I would not have put NRG having any chance to go further than TL, but they did, and they look like they should, and hopefully they do it again.
I'm excited for it. If they can get some people, oSee popped off tremendously. He's great on the op. We were just mentioning Liquid. I think it's funny because we talk about how Ultimate's so hot or cold for the op is Liquid. oSee was the old opper for Liquid, so it's funny to see him going farther than him now and probably playing better than Ultimate. So I think that's funny because I'm an Ultimate hater sometimes.
Happens.
I don't really agree with this idea. NRG, that oSee looked better, but NRG still got DFR'd.
Yeah, so did Mongolz.
I agree. Okay, that's a separate topic completely. We can get to that at a certain point. But I don't. They lost 0-2 to Maus, and then they lost to the Falcons. And we don't think that those guys. Those are definitely within the top 4 teams right now, right? Top 5 maybe.
It's crazy to think.
But they lost to both of them, so I don't know why we're hyping up NRG like they're amazing. They made it to spot.
I was smoked by the top 5.
I want to say too, the only reason they beat Falcons is because oSee was popping off. Every other player on the team was negative. He just popped off so much they were able to win a round.
Popped off to carry the Falcons.
No, but the Falcons only win.
Showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was multiple good players on the Falcons, but there was
No, yeah,
literally
100%.
OC was the only good player for him.
I just don't know
also-
why we're giving NRG the flowers on this
Well, they're
because they just
playing-
made it to the spot that
Just to be clear, the inverse of that is if NRG beats the Falcons and DFRs the Falcons,
totally.
world's on fire. That
Exactly.
team should be in the finals.
We can have that conversation if they beat the Falcons, but they lost to the Falcons.
No, but my thing is like prior to this, we're saying they're not even a top 20 team.
Yeah.
Right now, they had a very close series versus Mouse and versus Falcons.
I don't think they're not a top 20 team.
I'm just
Nobody
saying-
said that.
Well, the going into it, their rating and how they were looking at going through to the next round, Pat is the only one that said that they should be a lock out of that event.
Okay.
I mean, I just said they do better than Liquid. Liquid's 15, so I said they could be better than that. Do I think they're going to be a top 5 team? No, probably
Yeah.
not. But it is impressive to see them go against the likes of Mouse and the likes of Falcons. I mean, the Falcons game, sure, we can give it to oSee popping off, we can give it to Mossy popping off to counter back. It doesn't matter because we give credit to all sorts of teams whenever they do good against Vitality. Like, oh, they almost beat the top dogs. It's like, well, this is a low seed almost beating a very high seed in a very close match that could have
It
gone
was
either
not
way.
that close. They won a map, but the other two maps were
Dude,
not
the
close.
Dust 2 was close. They were.
It was like
they were
13-8 and then 13-5 were the two
They
the
were.
Falcons
They
won.
were.
That's not
They
that
were
close.
tied 8-8. It was a close game. It was
It's
back and
crazy.
forth until Falcons was able
That
to
is
break
not
their
close.
economy, and then they got the extra. couple
13-8
rounds
is
to
not
win.
close.
It is crazy,
It
though,
is
from
close.
purely a
That's 5 rounds.
taking a map off of them, though. That's insane.
And that's what I'm saying. They did take a map, but they only took the map because OC popped off so hard.
Yeah.
Every other player on NRG was negative for the series. And that map as well.
Yeah.
The map they won, everyone's negative except OC. He was like 20 positive.
I do love that NRG has made it to this bracket, right? And I love if they can win a game or two on top of this, but I don't see them doing that right now.
If they get some firepower with OC, I think they could
I mean,
have a good
it's
team.
the same thing with Monacy, though. Like, the Falcons win when Monacy pops off.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
Yeah, but
if
the
you're
thing-
relying on one player, same thing with Spirit, right? If Donk's not doing the thing, then it doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
but in the nicest way, when I look at this NRG team, it's like we have OC, and then like I like Nitro and some of those other guys, but it's like at least Donk has Shiro, and we joke that he has nothing. The Monacy, you have Nico, arguably the greatest rifler ever.
well, it doesn't play like the
You have
All these teams
a
won.
Donk level, you have a Donk level prodigy,
Dude,
Chaos-
honestly, if there's one team, I don't know if we have a Spirit segment coming up, but like Spirit looks really good this event.
Yeah.
They look, I mean, they have moments where individual players are not playing well, but I actually like Spirit walking into this one.
yeah,
So-
we can roll.
That's
to the,
what they're literally doing. They're just walking in through the easy bracket.
We can roll to the next one just because it is going to go about Spirit, because this one is going to be the Uno Reverse card and the ultimate Uno Reverse card. In the opening matchup versus Na'Vi, Zont1x started off 1-15, looked like he wasn't even playing. Like, you can put in the SF there, you're going to get the same result. Donk carries him to 18. I'm pretty sure he was 1-15 here. Later on, I think he's like 2-17 or 2-19. Donk's like 31-15. They make it to overtime. Tanir helps out a little bit. They secure the win in overtime on the Mirage. They then go to the Dust. Bro's 22-5. I'm pretty sure he started like, I think it was like 14-1. Like, basically inverted his score.
Yeah.
Like, crazy Uno Reverse card. But, you know, shout out to Zont1x for recuperating, because I don't know if my mentals could have maintained that.
I think he's just shaking the rust off. You know, it's been a little bit. He's trying to get back into it. He has a new teammate in Tanir that he's probably trying to figure out as well. But I still like the upside of both these, players. And when we saw them play previously, it was like that too. Like, Zont1x would pop off when Donk wasn't doing well at times, right? And so that's kind of, we know him as that anchor role who's pretty consistent. And I was even watching him play on Anubis against G2, where it's like he's so good at just picking individual fights and then getting out. Like, he's never over challenging in those moments. He always finds kind of sneaky spots to be in as the anchor for that team. And so I really like watching him play. But he does have poo-poo time, moments where he just like shows up where he's like, what are you doing?
No, 100%.
I like the team. I see this team as being like the upgraded BC game, in my opinion. They have like one player who they really rely on, Donk, comparison is Simple. And then the rest of the team, I don't really think they know who to listen to. It's like, do we listen to Donk, do we listen to Simple, or do we listen to the IGL, Magix, or Muterus, who Magic's brand new IGL. Yeah, he's played on the team before, but it's his first time shot calling. So I think they end up in a really weird position when they play like really good teams. We saw it in the last event, how they just crumbled when things got really tough for them. I think they can easily cruise through teams that they know that they're better than, but the teams that they start to go up against, like Falcons and Vitality, when you start to play these people where it's an actual mental game of like, are we better than them? Are we making the right calls? I think that's where this team is really going to fall off.
I think the hard piece is I think that they do listen to Magic. Because like he talked about in the last event, like, I made bad calls, we lost rounds.
Mm-hmm.
We made bad plays, we didn't make adjustments, we lost rounds. And it's like, I mean, it's cool that he's owning it, but like, bro, you got to fix that quick.
Yeah, because once they start listening to you, they're going to be like, why are we listening to
100%. It's one of those, you got to fix that pretty quickly. I also think, to me, the other like kind of light at the end of the tunnel is like, we've actually started to see some of the old Magics again. Like, there's been moments where he's won 2v1s, he's won 3v1s. He's done really clutch things that's how they won the Shanghai Major was like, Donk obviously is Donk, and you're going to get your 30 from him. But you need someone else that can kind of be that closer, almost that pseudo Rops. And like, it was Magic's in Shanghai, and then obviously it hadn't been since, which is why he got benched for a little bit. But at times, I think that can be Tanir. I think at times that can be Zont1x. And if you also have at times that can be Magic's, like, you're actually sitting in a good spot because it's going to be improbable that all three of those lay an egg and then Donk and Shiro don't get you their 30 to 40. Yeah. Like, that almost is not going to happen. But if one of those three can provide a little bit, you're good. 2 or 3 of those provide everything. Like, you're probably pushing on Vitality's level of untouchable if everybody fires on all cylinders. Yeah. But I don't know that we're going to get that very often.
They seem more vibe squatty to me without Chopper. Like, I feel like they're all a little bit happier. So, like, and Chopper kind of seemed like the dad that like none of them really wanted to listen to, and so I think the Vibe Squad, yeah, that's right, the stepdad, that's right. So I think the Vibe Squad buff for them will be really good if you know how like when you're playing, if you can find like that rhythm where like it's not always Magic's calling, right? Some people give information and you kind of get like a team element of like somebody makes a call and you're like, oh, let's do that, right? It doesn't always have to be the IGL. Sometimes there's a little bit of feel with that between individual players because you get information from across the map, right? And so it's like they feel like they might enter a flow state for that, and then I kind of put them in a spot where they can really be dominant. But I also don't know exactly the team dynamics. I'm just looking from the outside in. It could be different than that. So
sure.
I don't see the Spirit Squad right now. It's like kind of interesting. My view on them is still the same as it was last week. I think it's still just more of a time gate thing of like seeing like where they're going to end up. Because like not to just constantly joke that they've had an easier run, but it's just like we go from losing to Paravision at the Blast Bounty, and you know Paravision was on a hot streak, yada yada, they end up winning. To now, it's like I'm still eager to see what they're going to do against more of the top teams. Not that the teams they're facing are trash. I mean they're facing G2 like right now, I think as we're recording this, and it was looking really good for them as we was going in. So they have that potential, but it is one of those things where it's like if you're going to have Zont1x doing that and not having the Uno reverse flip on it or Magic's or whatever, and then you fall into that same old Spirit routine and where you just have to rely on Donk. And I think that unfortunately has always been Spirit's problem, and right now it's hard to tell, but it might just still continue to be Spirit's problem.
Because that map on Mirage felt exactly like the Vitality map, right? And it's one of those where Spirit were rolling, Donk was rolling, and then all of a sudden, Mezzi started playing on Cat, and that just flipped the game over. Then Vitality come back and win. And, like, no offense to Na'Vi, they're just not Vitality. So it's like Na'Vi couldn't do it. They still pushed them to overtime, but they couldn't win in overtime, whereas Vitality were able to come back, win that same game in overtime. And it's one of those where, like, to your point, you can't – I mean, Donk is probably going to be good for 30, which is insane to say that a player is consistently about good for 30. But that's not enough to win. And it's not enough to win against Vitality. It's not enough to win against Falcons. It's probably not enough to win against Mals or Aurora right now. And it's like, you just got to kind of figure that out. For me, this team really needs one thing, and that's to win quick. Because if you start going 3, 4, 5, 6 tournaments into the year without a win, you don't believe in yourself with a major. They were lucky last time. As soon as they got Zwei, they immediately won a big trophy. They immediately won IEM. And that's like a big, big boost, right? Like, that's a big trophy. Donk wanted that trophy, so it's a big deal for him. And then you immediately have the confidence. Okay, cool. With this new roster, we're good. But now with Magic's there, you need to win, and you need to win quick to be like, all right, we can do it with this squad. We just now need to do it consistently. And that's, I don't know, that's the biggest fear I have is if they don't win the next 3, 4, like that team's gonna start looking shaky.
Hey, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's this one. I mean, sure, they're going through this route to get to the playoffs. Maybe they just dominate.
Could be cool.
I mean,
it'd be cool.
They have had an easy route, Astralis and Na'Vi. You know, now they're playing G2. So
if they get the 1 seed though, and then Vitality gets the 1 seed on the other side, we actually could get a Spirit Vitality final, not a semi-final, quarter-final like we've been getting.
Well, dude, and Spirit and Mals always play each other close. So if it's on the other side too, like those guys are gonna battle.
Mals will look good too. Speaking of things that haven't looked good in any context at all, this next tweet is honestly slightly depressing. It's from CS:GO Bet, but they're talking about VP here. It's a series, 2 pieces. VP has been looking awful. I know it's super small up there. Basically, VP has been losing to teams outside the top 150 in VRS. They lost to a team that doesn't even have VRS. They now slotted all the way down to, I think, the low 80s. I think they're like 84th or something like that in the VRS rankings. The rumor is that the org is looking to possibly just sell off the team and then buy a core in the top 20. It feels that far gone. And for a historic org inside of Counter-Strike, this doesn't feel good. Like, this might be the end of VP if they don't change something, but you know, you put on your GM hat. How are we saving this historic franchise?
I think it's what you said. We got, like, this team right now is not it. Just drop them all and just go back to the drawing board and start brand new. My personal opinion.
Yeah, just gut it. And it's sad. I feel like just last season, I felt like VP was on an uptick. I felt like they were doing fine. They were doing decent runs at the major. They were having decent placement in tournaments. Like, sure, they weren't winning by no means, but, like, there was that moment where it's like, oh, well, you're going up against VP. Like, this team could upset you. Like, this potential for them to win. As it were now, I mean, yeah, you just scrape it, unfortunately.
Dude, it's
but
great.
Who you buying?
Totally. It's crazy to think about as well, because like we're giving all this love to Jame and Paravision because they've obviously just won the most recent event. But it's like VP moved on from him. He brought them a pseudo major because they couldn't do the sanctions, but he effectively brought VP a major with his weird play style and uniqueness and all that other stuff. And then you said, hey, you can't win. We're going to move on because we want to keep winning. James moved on. Jame has won.
Yeah.
And you're 84th
and
now?
they kept a couple of his teammates from the outsiders, and now they're just like terrible.
100%.
I don't know. The Paravision thing is interesting on that side too. I mean, obviously the topic of conversation here being VP, it's like, it sucks that you see an org go like that. But my personal opinion on this is from the economic side of it. There's not enough room at the top, and so they have to consistently perform, and that's not what they've been able to do. And because of things like that, but I also want to hit on this point of like the format of this is so much different than what Bounty was, right? And we talked about it where it's like, it's a single elimination in Bounty. You pick somebody, you move on, right? And I know that you guys love that format. I personally hate it. I love a format like this because a Paravision can't squeak through because they have to beat a lot of good teams to get there. And sure, they won some close matches on the back end, but I do think that tournament as a whole is kind of a fluke. I don't think Paravision's going to do that. They're not going to go on a crazy run. They might be a top, let's call it 16 team the rest of the year where they're there, kind of like an NRG maybe, but I don't think they're going to do it consistently. And it's not like he's making the difference for them to make them like a global superpower.
They did beat good teams.
They
though,
did beat Falcons. They did
Furia,
beat Spirit. They did beat Furia.
They beat all
They
the top
literally
dogs
beat
except for
2
Vitality.
or 1, 3, and 5.
I understand that, but I think that the format plays so much into that where they can hide somewhat in that format where they will not be able to hide in formats like this. That's my personal opinion, but like I
mean, I don't digress. They didn't do
the
the greatest at this tournament after coming off the win.
So like why?
The James strategy is weird. People
The
watch
Zwei golden egg, like we talked about, the golden goose is gone. You got your one win with
It's
Zwei,
also
and it's
James.
over.
I mean, this is obviously more by the VP/outsiders side, not this. But James did the same thing there, right? Like he created like a weird system that is weird. They won a major on it, and he won it technically not for VP, but for VP.
Sure.
And since then, it did not work as well in CS2. VP decided they wanted a new system and a new factory. They built around a new system, kept some of the old guard. They even had electronic for a little bit. He's now on BC Game doing better. And it's like, at this point, I don't know what core you can buy, but for me, it's like, dude, you got to find something. Because if you're VP and you're spending money, you should be, it's untenable to keep spending money and not win.
Yeah.
You have to do something. And this team looks bad. Sure. It does not look like they have any chance, no option. It's also crazy to think, 12 months ago, the current rumor was that m0NESY is signing with VP. That is what we thought. We thought he was not going to Falcons. He is going to be going to VP. They have convinced him into a deal, and VP is about to be a top 5 team. We are 12 months later, and it has burned the project.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think m0NESY necessarily changes that for you at times based off
He
what
might
we've
help with
seen
recruiting in the
Falcons.
offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might make it a little bit more of an appealing place to land at if you're another player, but good decision from him. Jeez.
Yeah, dude.
Well, and clearly
Generational
VP
save.
couldn't pay the bill that the Falcons were going to. I mean, it's an easy decision on the back end.
Yeah, I'm curious if it was that because apparently they had a verbal deal with the GM of VP, and I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was probably more if he wanted to play with Nico, he wanted to play with those guys. But the inverse is true. If he goes to VP, now you have a lot of players that want to come there. Your system might be more tenable, but like now it's like just doesn't feel good in any capacity.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think the landscape that we're currently in with Counter-Strike 2, because like talking about cores and like who are they going to buy? Number one, who are the players that are going to leave their organization to come play for VP, and how much is it going to cost? Because I know there's been a lot of rumors about the BC game picking up the Saw. We don't know the exact number, but I mean, it wasn't cheap. And it's like the 3 players that you got from there are like not very good.
Yeah,
and they're
not top 10 for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely not top 10 players in their role at all. But like, it costs a lot of money to do that still.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much money are you willing to spend on really good players if you want to be competitive?
Maybe that's what we need to do as businessmen ourselves. We just need to put some players together, get them into the top 20 of VRS, and just sell them. That's probably a
Heroic.
good gig.
That
That's
sounds
probably
like heroic.
heroic.
Yeah.
That's probably a good gig. Hey, what's Heroic's VRS rating right now? I'm pretty sure VP's already looked it up. The next thing we want to hop into, though, is going to be as we look at how Krakow has been going so far, let's talk about the teams that missed out. Before we go specifically into this, I am going to highlight our picks from the last time to reflect on our locks and our drops. CG wasn't here for that, so we're going to assume he would have went 500. That would have put him at last, unfortunately. Which everybody here is above 500, which is nice.
Good.
Me and Davis tied at 5 out of 8 correct picks. Pat, 7 out of 8. Now, you couldn't have gone perfect because in the end, Payne played
Yeah.
Aurora.
It was
So
unfortunate.
that did betray you from the perfect setup. NRG betrayed myself and Davis. Foot betrayed me but saved Davis. Gamer Legion, Liquid both betrayed Davis. And then we all know, and I'm here for it, Pat, but Payne put me into pain. I can't, in good faith, keep pulling for this group.
I
can't.
feel like you will continue to keep doing so regardless, so it doesn't matter.
Next event they're in, hey, they're a good team, dude. No.
You just can't imagine that with a slight change and this team looked good like 6 months ago, and now they just look real questionable. But we see a lot of teams that missed out. We also missed out. B8, which is a sneaky team in the top 15. I think they're like around 10th right now. They also got knocked out. What are we thinking from these missing squad? You think just bad event? You think bad makeup? Like I think Nip looked good personally, but
Yeah.
I don't know when they're going to get a favorable bracket because they've been getting cursed.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing that was weird to me. HLTV needs to update their site on like how the bracket works through because we all thought that you were going to stay like within your 4 teams of group play because that's how it was represented. But then it was like, no, you're getting matched up with random people. But one person I wanted to talk about was B8 with Segukawa. He was a new guy that they picked up. And B8 was a really good team last year that played really well at the majors, and it looked like they've been building consistently. They kept their same roster, and then they come into this event, and it's like, no, we're actually going to try this new guy. He's 16 years old, his first event, and I don't want to get on him too much. He's a young guy, first event with a new team, but he completely dropped the ball for them. And their elimination series drops a .54 against Payne. So just it stinks to see like a team, like you said, with coming in with such firepower. They're ranked number 16 in the world right now. It's like they're building, and then they just drop the ball. Switch up the roster and
Yeah,
drop the
totally.
ball.
And those are things that are tough because then you stop getting invited to events, like when you get into that weird kind of interim spot. So it's like a lot of these teams needed it. TL really needed it. TL last year, was the end of the year, was at a point to where they might not be able to play in many of these events. Made a little bit of a VRS run, but then now we've seen them now look back bad again.
Thank you to the last win that he got for them. But
Send it off.
Yeah.
Send it off.
And what's worse is like other than that run, Twiz didn't look good with them.
Yeah, agreed.
And Elige hasn't been the problem.
He's looked a lot better in phase.
The NAF thing is a little bit of odd drama too, which is weird. So we'll see where that goes. They're still, I think he's loosely stepping away, and they have somebody in the interim, but I don't know officially what's going to happen yet. So
The
Oh,
legacy
Crimbo, that was his name to step in? He actually played really good.
he did.
Legacy was in here too, and they lost a BC game, and so that one's interesting for me. We've seen them win events before. Like that's a squad that is kind of sneaky good at times and can show up, but it's interesting the inconsistency, kind of like B8 too, where like they're always going to be a stage 3 major team, right? And so you're kind of watching them through, and it's an easy pick, but it's challenging when stage 1 major team, not stage 3. It's always backwards in this, but you always want to pick them in those early stages to try and go through. And so, but events like this, they just don't show up.
Totally. Pat, you also talked really positively about Gamer Legion and Snacks, and fell a little flat.
I did talk positively about them, but I didn't pick them though.
That's true. This is
So
true.
just because I talk positively, it doesn't mean I've foreseen them going through. But I did see potential in this Gamer Legion squad. I thought that Snacks might be a good fit, but I mean, there was a reason why he was booted off of G2, so maybe that's where we're at. But for the teams that missed out, I mean, I think this is just the biggest blunder for Team Liquid. I think Team Liquid should have made this through. I know they had to have that stand-in, which is unfortunate. But like just the team as a whole has felt like it's been in a weird spot ever since they got a lead back from that deal. And yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, their team, I feel like it's one of those ones where it's like we're not seeing roster moves in the offseason. Like I feel like Team Liquid is one of those ones that needed to do some roster moves. And maybe the NAF one now, this is going to be one of those, but this seems sudden, not like planned.
It's also crazy because, like, no offense to NAF, like, he's not looked good on that roster for a while. And it's similar. Like Twiz looks better on FaZe than he did on TL, and that's not any shade to TL. It's just sometimes your systems work out differently. Nav has not looked good in this system for 6 months, and you obviously bring in a Liege, but that doesn't. If your boat's leaking water out of one side, fixing a hole on the other side that's not even a hole isn't going to fix the leaking problem on the other side. So that part hurts a good amount, and that's where, to me, it doesn't feel good moving forward.
Yeah.
And Shuhei has been doing not great.
No.
He has been underperforming.
He's also got a weird face, and I don't like that.
Wow.
That's
Alrighty. That's really awesome. So next thing we want to hop into is, we already talked about it a little bit, is early exits. These are some of the teams we thought might go a little bit longer. I mean, Jame Time is one of them. You just come off the back of an event, so if they would not have won the previous event, we probably are not mentioning that this is a significant early exit. But because they did just win, I guess we kind of have to.
Why we got FaZe on here?
Yeah, that's
we got NRG on it.
Because I swear you started with like teams that we seen them go early and we shouldn't have, or something like that.
Yeah, I guess
FaZe
that's true. I guess that's true. Yeah, but like BC Game, man, they made it a little bit, so that's nice. Navi, you'd expect them to maybe make the bracket. They looked decent as well.
Dude, I love watching Navi play, man. They're so explosive. They just have so many good things.
Yep.
I love it.
Foot got hot for a little bit, and then they got not for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think Foot's a good shot there for an early exit. I think they were playing really good. I mean, they smacked Furia down, just completely 2-0'd them, and then they had a close series with G2, lost 2-1, and then just got double bounced right after that. But
Dude, I want to see the era of 3D Max, man. Those guys have been together for so long.
A little French squad is nice. It's also fun. Like Apex is the GOAT of IGLs. I don't care, Kerrigan, you have no chance. Apex is obviously French, and he's doing nothing but bad-mouthing his French brethren, cursing the French. He's French. It's S tier. But I thought that was a really good series. 3D Max looks good. They look like they can consistently be a top 15 team, but I just don't think they're going to be a top 8-ish. They might go on a Paravision run. That'd be nice, but for me, Navi, I just expect a little bit more out of them. And I mean, I don't expect more out of FaZe. We know this. But Navi, it's like this team is one player removed from being a team of the year in 2024. And it's like 2025, they spent the whole year looking for themselves. They brought in Makaze. Makaze doesn't seem to be a problem. He's not an issue. But, like, they just can't close. It's like Alexi B does weird stuff. You had that odd moment where you had a weird team kill-esque scenario in the mid, and it was like, what are we doing? And it's like in Anubis. And, I don't know, just weird vibes. They should have won the first game versus Spirit. I mean, you have two players that are not playing. All you have to do is avoid donk and you win. You couldn't manage to do that. And it's just kind of hard to watch Navi start to slip a little bit.
Yeah. I think they kind of get in their heads too. We've talked about like just teams whenever they get on the back against the ropes and they make a bad play, not being able to recover. I really see that from Navi. I think the Spirit game is a perfect example of that. They knew that like we can win this game, and when they dropped the ball and lost the second map, they just got blown out of the water. And I think that thought about we didn't win map 1 when we should have was just lingering in their mind the whole time. And then when you're thinking about that going into map 2, it just a recipe for disaster, and they just kind of fell off.
Yeah. So I guess earliest for me, I mean, honestly, the one that's most upsetting for me probably is Paravision, just because I kind of didn't want it to be like a fluke. And I mean, I guess it's just one event to one event. I mean, sure, we could quick judge and say it's a fluke, but yeah, it really didn't look that good for him, unfortunately. And like Noda was, he had a stellar performance in the Blast Bounty, didn't quite show up here for these matches. And like, you're going against teams that are weaker than what you faced in the Blast Bounty, at least in terms of rankings. And so that was just sad to see because, I mean, I think having the Jame time and stuff is cool and like a different play style to see that kind of ramp up and go forward. So, I mean, that one's the most shocking to me. I was at least expecting them to go a wee bit farther.
I thought you would pick FaZe. That's crazy.
Oh, dude, FaZe, they shouldn't even have made it through.
Auto qualified.
They get their auto qualifies, and then they somehow will always weasel their way in somehow.
Are you talking about the team that got second at the freaking last
the team that weaseled their
that.
way in, and gave Vitality a free major. So, I mean, what are we supposed to be happy about that?
Well, you like Vitality.
I mean, sure. I mean, as soon as once FaZe beat Navi, at that major, was
Go
like,
ahead, give us the trophy.
Free win, baby.
Yeah.
Free win.
Now, it is crazy to me when I think about the BC game side is like, again, I don't necessarily agree that the major finalists were the best two teams in the world, but BC Game pulled the literal major finalists, like back to back. Like, that's a crazy. I mean, it's crazy that they made it as far as they are, but they literally played the two most, successful orgs at the end of the year. I don't think FaZe looked like that, though. What's weird is I saw a cool tweet about a Brokey buff on Friday. Basically, his HLTV rating is, I think, like 2/10 higher on Friday, and then it immediately falls on Saturday.
Nice.
So
He
unfortunate.
goes out Friday, gets a little too hard.
Dude, specifically FaZe on Nuke, they have, I don't know why, they end up playing on Nuke and they are terrible at it. They are not good. That is not a map. That should be their insta ban.
You say
They
that,
not
but
play well.
Kerrigan dropped like 25 and beat Vitality on him.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
beat
Probably you're
Vitality.
making it
this
because of that.
Yeah, Nuke was
We
like
can
their
do
good
it.
map.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that they had, I mean, they started in the first stage for the major.
Yep.
So they had so much momentum kind of rocking into it. And then you take a month off, you come back into this, and they just looked like they'd lost everything.
That was a script. That last major was scripted.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, just kind of shout out you, was the Noda with Paravision. I think if Noda actually plays like he did at the Blast Bounty, I think they win both the series that they lost to get knocked out against Navi and Astralis. Both of them were 2-1 matches. He was the bottom frag in both matches, and like he was their star rifler for the Blast Bounty. I think if he shows up, they easily win this series.
Not for sure. I mean, I agree, and that's why I don't want to call it a fluke quite yet. We'll wait and see for a couple more tournaments, but yeah, I mean, they just got to fire on all cylinders and play the game. I think they'll be a decent team. I still foresee them being. I mean, I put them above like Liquid. I put them in that like 10, 11 range, maybe a little bit higher if they can keep up the sprint.
They've been
Wade's been doing fine too.
They've been on a pretty good come up over the past like 6 months as well. And like even when we did our predictions on the year, like I originally had them as like my 14th team. As like I think that they can consistently get there. Just depends on the timing of the events they're at and what they play. Because like I mean the Jame time, like you can call it a gimmick all you want, but his save strategy is very effective. It can produce wins. It literally has produced a major, and it's like it is weird. It is unique, but it's also something that you could kind of plan against. You start to know what they're going to do. They're not as unpredictable. So I am kind of curious to see how it evolves because, you know, when you're doing 4-man saves for 3-4 rounds in a row, it's like you joke that it's predictable, but if you're a professional and, you know, you got your coach over there with the sheet, it's going to be predictable. You're going to know what they do. So you're going to have to innovate that and change that. I don't think it's going to be a fluke. I hope Zwei is not the golden egg laying guy that shows up twice a year. I hope that we actually get to see it for a good little run because, dude, if he plays like he did in the Bounty and he plays like he did the first 2 events with Spirit, like he could be a top 20 player. If he plays like he did at the end of this event, though, like he's not going to be on that roster for long.
And the end of his run with Spirit too, like
Talk about a player who's also terrible at Nuke.
That's true. This is very true. It's very true. The next group we want to hop into is kind of the big dogs. They've been eating good. Spirit and Vitality, they look flawless. Not dropped a map. They, you know, Spirit had a close one versus Navi, but other than that, these two teams have been absolutely rolling. And then G2 and Aurora also look good. All 4 of those are moved on to the next round. Aurora, you know, Pat is sorry. I'm just going to say that for him. But other than that, any of those guys you want to shout out? I mean, I know Pat loves his Vitality, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'll shout out Vitality, but that's the obvious one is they've been doing really well. G2, I'm always happy for G2. So, you know, I'd like to see them keep going. Obviously, I don't know what the scores of the match that was going on between them and Spirit right now.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, sure. Give us a live update. Live update on
G2 just tied it up. It's 1-1.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so they're having a really good game right now against Spirit, so I'm always happy for them. And yeah, Spirit obviously is Spirit, and I'm interested just because of their dynamical core. And Aurora, I'll save that for our next segment where I have the thing about Aurora.
All right. What you got, Davis?
I'm excited for it. I think G2 looks really good. I'm excited to see them back playing. We didn't see them at the Blast Bounty. I think they're a team, you know, they won an event last year. Hunter's starting to really feel, I think, solidified as the IGL on this team. He's got being a lot more comfortable leading this group. So I think they have a lot of pieces that can be successful. It's just a matter of arriving in the right moments and all playing good together. So excited for them. Vitality is Vitality. They've been playing really well. That's really good. It's good to see Aurora back, too, though. I'm excited for that. I mean, it could be a fluke. They also didn't play very good at Blast Bounty, so who knows what's going to happen with them. But
Dude, that team is so hot or cold. That is where it's such an odd group because we were sitting here talking about this last week, and I was saying, blow that team up. You have a generational player. Let him leave. Let him be free. This team is not it. And then now we might carry him to a win.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if they roll straight all the way through. And it's like, you know what? It is what it
Never
is.
mind.
He's staying. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. the bottom side of this, I'm looking at Mal's Falcons, and I'm looking
We
at.
said big dogs. That's weird.
Yeah, I know. Astralis, Furia, and obviously those
it's
guys
big dogs.
aren't the big dogs that are all coming from the bottom of this thing. I mean, I guess the Furia Fallen thing, like, you know, Furia has looked awful the last couple ones.
Yeah,
You know?
they have.
Yeah, let's get on the Fury 8 train. I'm always for that.
Hell yeah.
Let's hop on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Aurora's looking good. That's the one that's surprising for me. They normally don't look like this. They normally look a little wash. So
Totally. That's one of those where I legitimately think that seeing the ideal scenario, I think we get a Vitality v Spirit, big dogs final. They're both one seeds going in. Like that's the show that people want to see. But dude, the way they're playing right now, it feels like Aurora just has so much momentum. Yeah. It feels a lot like that Paravision run where it's like, yo, if you let them beat a Falcons, you let them beat a Vitality or a Spirit on their way in, like, dude, that team might just roll everybody. And then the next event get DFR'd.
Yeah.
Just feels weird.
I don't know. I just want to say one thing. I think it's crazy to consider Spirit big dogs, and we're going to say Mals and Falcons are not big dogs. Spirit are like the 7th ranked team right now. They're not big dogs.
The Mals with no comment.
He's speaking some facts. Right here, so I mean,
was it the?
They're mid to top dogs.
I think it was Falcons. How was their first round matchup again?
They lost.
Talking about the guys that lost.
Aurora.
They lost one map to NRG.
And then
the team that we just said is playing so good.
And then they went to the losers. And then who did they play?
NRG.
Which is what's their loose rank, give or take?
Smacked them up.
What's their loose rank, give or take?
20.
20.
And they smacked them up.
They lost from map to the 20.
Barely.
That doesn't feel like a big dog. You know what I'm saying?
Barely.
Maybe.
The only big dog eating here is Vitality.
They just got smacked up by Falcons. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like Vitalities should smoke everybody. This one, I think. That's me though. I'm with that.
They've looked good at times, but I will say maybe it's a little bit of the simple fear. My biggest issue with them right now is that first game versus BC game. And I don't know if they were just doing weird stuff. Maybe they're a little cold after losing to the Falcons or what it was. But like their play calls were just off. They made a lot of late hits on sites. They lost a lot of rounds to time, which you've never seen Vitality do. And I don't know if it's just because, you know, that's going to be the most watched map of maybe the whole year. But it's obviously Simple v Zywoo. And maybe you're afraid of Simple to some degree, or you're doing weird stuff, or maybe you're just testing stuff. But it's just odd to me that your Vitality, back-to-back major winning champions, and you're losing rounds to time. Like, that's crazy on offense.
I think they were just having a good time. I think under no circumstance, that they were afraid of Simple. I mean, they were just laughing and having a good time like that whole series. They were not worried at all.
It makes the pimple at one point.
I don't think they were afraid of Simple at all, except Zywoo. I think he was the only one that genuinely was thinking about Simple. Everybody else was just playing their game, doing what they normally do, carry Zywoo.
It's also if you're Vitality.
Carry Zywoo.
It's also
in the big matches. That's what normally happens.
I mean, it's also, dude, if you're Vitality, it's like even if you assume, and I'm not saying this is the case, but even if you assume that Simple is going to kill Zywoo every single round, you still have Rops. And then after that, you have Mezzy, you have Flamesy, and then you hopefully have a really good play from Apex. Yeah. Like, you really think Mutarez and Crazy and those guys,
dude,
Aragorn are going to stop that?
I mean, I love the play. Simple was, it was a B retake on Dust 2. Simple was behind Apex for a little while, and then he gets a little squeamish on it because he kind of turns and looks at him. And so it was fun because I think Zywoo actually made a tweet that was like, Simple pretty much always knows where everybody is, so he's really, really hard to surprise. And so it was nice for Apex to give the flowers to kind of them on that side. But I do think that like Vitality just looks great. That's my personal opinion. So
that's my only concern with them is that they've looked shaky on their T side, and just the way the game is going right now, you have to be securing high amounts of T rounds. That's not to say that I don't think they're going to do it. That's not to say that I don't think that they're the favorites. I do think in the current capacity, I'm hoping for a Spirit Vitality kind of final if we can get there.
Dude, I'd love to see Mouse.
Had to get through Aurora first.
That's true. But speaking of Aurora, Pat, what did you learn over the weekend, Pat?
I learned. Sorry, let me speak directly. I'm speaking directly to the Turkey fans out there. I just want to apologize. All right, I'm sorry. I didn't realize Aurora had such game. Okay. And besides that, yes, Aurora, they have been looking pretty good. They're on a hot streak. And, you know, I'm most impressed by their newest addition, Soulfly. We've talked constantly about how, like, these national teams, and they have, like, a limited pool that they can choose from, and that might make it harder going into the future. But Soulfly really stepped up so far this event. I mean, he has been on, like, 1.12 ratings and above, like, each game, like, above Xantares. And obviously, we can't talk about this without talking about Madger, who has, I think, probably dropped his highest ever rated game. He has been playing phenomenally. And it's one of those scenarios where maybe it's like a Paravision from Blast, where it's like all the stars are aligning, all the players are playing at their top tempo. And they might, like you said, they might just steamroll this event. They might just steamroll right here through Vitality, take that 1 seed, and then just roll in from there at the rate it's looking because they're playing
It's
fantastic.
just going to be an update Vitality 2-0, 13-1, 13-2. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
I don't know. They've gotten they got the
No, they
secret
look
sauce
good.
right now.
No, I don't disagree. My only fear with this roster, though, is the IGL side. I don't think that Badger can consistently do that. That's not to say I don't think it's possible. I think that for the most part, most of the teams in the top 10 right now, if they fire on all cylinders and a Spirit, a Vitality, and a Falcons aren't playing at 100%, they can win. But it's like this team right now at 100% actually looks like they'll be competitive versus a Vitality and a Spirit, even playing well. They don't have to be playing poorly. But it's, if you get peak Vitality, I don't know if anybody can stop peak Vitality, right? But I do think we are seeing peak Aurora, which is awesome. They've won events this way. We've never got to see them really win a big event with the big dogs there. So I would like to see them do that. I'd like to see them get hot. But just my thing is once you start having to call against Apex and Spirit, I'm going to give all the credit to Holly, the coach. But once you have to start dealing with those guys, like those guys are legit. They're there for a reason. They're there every week. They're there at every bracket. Aurora isn't. And that's the hard piece.
I'm excited for Soulfly. I think last event was really tough for him. A lot of people were questioning whether this was the right move to get rid of Jota and add him. But I think this series, he really arrived, especially with against Mals and Falcons in those series. He arrived. He was their top frag in both of those. So I think that's a lot of confidence for him that he needs joining this new team. So I hope they're back around. I think they're a really good team. It's really fun to see a team that has like a nationality and a bunch of fans really behind them, supporting them. So I think that's really cool, and I hope they stay around.
I think they lose to Vitality and they lose to whoever they play in the first round of the playoffs.
Debbie Downer over here. Let's go, baby.
I think that's a pretty logical statement.
I don't think it's a bad take. My thing is to Pat. Everything Pat just said. The one thing that you should be afraid of if you're Vitality or whoever they play in the first round is we've not seen the best of their best player. Like he's not been carrying their team.
Mm-hmm.
We've not seen him pop off yet. And if he gets hot, if Xanteris gets hot, he is a top 20 player. He's probably a top 10 player. He might be a top 5 player. And if he gets hot and everyone else is playing as good as they're playing, like it is competitive. Now I don't think they have a gun that's competitive versus a few oppers that are left. So that is going to be the hard piece. But like, dude, a really hot Xanteris, like it is hard for Donk to handle. It is hard for anybody to handle. Now, if you get an average version of him, yeah,
Not that bad.
Heavy God's taking him out.
Yeah.
I hope they lose to G2 or Mouse. That'd be awesome.
It'd be crazy.
I respect it, dude. Last week, that's totally what I was down with. I was saying, but no, I mean, just so we can end this segment off, I just want to say I do apologize, but yeah, I do think your team still sucks.
That's all we needed. So what I learned over the weekend is I actually think that we're in peak Counter-Strike. This is a time where like it feels like we are back to the glory days of Go, to where pretty much, I mean, with Paravision winning last week, if Aurora gets hot and wins this week, we're going to be two, no matter what, Paravision's gone. We're going to be 2 events in with 2 winners.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we were through the end of the major, like through the major. After the major is when that was upset at EWC when the Mongolz finally won. So it's like, we're going to get that 2 in.
And our top 2 winners will be outside of the top 10 as well. 2 teams that are outside the top 10 rank, have won the first 2 events if Aurora would win.
Which would be absolutely insane. And it's like, it just feels like we're in a spot where, like, yeah, if Na'Vi get hot, you wouldn't be surprised. If G2 stay hot, you would not be surprised. If Falcons get hot, you wouldn't be surprised. Spirit, Vitality, Mals, Mals and Falcons are still a hard sell. They can't close the deal. But you still wouldn't be that surprised. Like, it legitimately feels like we're in a place now to where, because maybe a little bit of a Vitality slump and everybody else stepping up, it feels like there's like 10 to 12 teams right now that you're not going to be that, like, Paravision was a little bit of a surprise. Aurora's not even that much. Na'Vi's not even that much. G2's not even that much. And it just feels like we're finally at a time where we're starting to see things like Jame time and weird plays. We're starting to see BC Game and Simple come back on some weird nonsense. And it's like, from a viewership perspective, from a fan perspective, like, these are all good games to watch. We got the Simple Kerrigan Unk off. We then got Kerrigan get wee-wooed by Mouse, get it sitting them home. I don't know. It's been fun to watch.
A lot of 2-1s, not a lot of 2-0s is what I've been.
And the games are good. Like Na'Vi versus Spirit was a good series. G2 versus Spirit, good series. It's not like we were seeing Vitality and Spirit and Mals and Falcons clown the second class of teams previously. Whereas like now it's like they're losable. Falcons lost their first round match. Like it's exciting. This is peak Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm with you too. Yeah, I think Astralis can beat Furia too, and Astralis could be in there as well in the conversation. So
Anybody can beat Furia. That's not Let's be real.
That's not crazy. I do think Astralis has also looked really nice too. That's been an underrated one. I don't think we've actually got to mention them pretty much at all. But like that new international squad is looking really good. Stare is looking really, really nice. Like that team looks fun. They kind of look like G2 did post Monacy, where it's like they're still a little bit sketchy, but then they went on that blast run in London, and it's like, dude, Astralis, they could be around to be legit and stay.
It's wild too because they took so long to announce who was going to fill their roster before the first event, and it's like they didn't have much practice clearly because of how long it took them to get the 2 new players, but to have them playing really good this early it's exciting for them. Like you said, they could go on a run. The more they get experience, the more they play together.
Yeah. I think the next one we're going to talk about is going to be the most exciting, though, because Davis wants to tell us that Furia are back.
They're back to their old ways. They had their little honeymoon phase last year after the first major, won a few events, but goodness gracious, they are losing some crazy series. Losing to Foot 2-0, dropping maps left and right. We're back to the old Furia.
Dude, I cannot believe they beat the Mongols. That Inferno was so stupid. They lost 6 rounds straight to lose it. And they were just barreling at each other, top and bottom of Banana, the whole game. Like, they're just running at each other the whole time. It was so stupid to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, Furia also is known for doing that on Banana. So are the Mongols. So both those teams kind of have that as classification. But, like, Furia does look like garbage right now. Like, so bad. Like, back to what we saw last year. I don't know how they won 3 events last year. It was crazy. It was weird.
They won 3 in a row.
Yeah, they won 3 in a row. They were supposed to be they were the favored walking into the major, and no such thing. Yeah, terrible.
Here we are. Pat, you love this, don't you?
No, I do love it because, like, dude, there's something about Furia, man. Like, I love Fallen. Don't get me wrong. The old guard I always respect, but I don't think that team's that great. And, like, while I do agree Molodor definitely is the rookie of the year compared to everybody else, I think they gave him a number 6 I thought was crazy for his ranking when he's just he is either it or he's not it. Yeah. Like, worse than somebody like we clown on Monacy for it, right? But it's like, even Monacy is way more consistent than this. It's like, it's one of those things. No, I'm not saying he's a Monacy.
He ain't even close.
I'm saying it's just like his consistency levels are nowhere near as bad as Monacy.
Keep Monacy and Molodor's name out of your mouth.
Don't put them in the same sentence.
Put them in the same sentence.
Real quick, so you're saying that Molodor won a bunch of trophies last year, but was inconsistent. And then Monacy didn't win any trophies last year. But Monacy's better, but then
because he was more consistent.
Because he's more consistent. But then the Donk Zaiwu thing, it's the inverse, right? Just to make sure.
Well, see, the thing with the Furia was Molodor for that little bit of time period was very consistent and then was on top. And it wasn't just him. Yukindar was doing it. Yuri was doing it. Fallen was even having some spectacular plays. Yeah. But it was the thing like with Aurora, what we're talking right now. It's like they were just firing on all cylinders and everything was just going their way. And now they're hitting a hardship and things are not going their way. And maybe that's because the other teams were like focusing more on them now because they had that stint. So they're learning their play style and what they're doing. And now they're just able to take that to them. And it's not just that. I mean, they have just, their shooting has looked rocky. The play callings looked rocky. And the match against the Mongols was crazy for me because that was literally like it looked like a premier match. Two teams just butting their heads together, slaying it out throughout the whole thing. It's just crazy.
They lost the Foot.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
It's one of those, what's worse is that when you look at this team, though, it feels exactly like you said with the Aurora side. It's like, dude, they could get hot in this bracket and roll everybody. And we're not going to be surprised if we do that. They also might get 0-2'd and be at home watching with us. Neither one of those outcomes surprised with this team. It is, the fun thing to me is, again, on the Fallen side and just, credit to him. He was talking about how Molodor is trying to, kind of regain composure. You come off this Rookie of the Year. You've got all this weight on you, blah, blah, blah. And he just, casually makes a joke of, yeah, I mean, I was Rookie of the Year in 2006. So, I mean, I told him, I was like, I kind of know what it likes. He's like, dude, that was 20 years ago. You were Rookie of the Year 20 years ago, and now you're helping this kid. And then he got another piece of history in that series, though. He got his first 5v1 ace in, 2,110 days. 5 years. 5 years between a 5v1 ace for Fallen.
Dude, Inferno is Fallen's map, though. He's gotten a couple 5v1s on that. There's been a couple iconic, probably 3 plays where he 5v1 because he did it on the Mongols this time.
He did it at the major versus Navi.
Exactly. So
he still lost.
Fallen's
if they win it could be graffiti.
Should have been a Rookie of the Year.
Navi hate graffiti.
That was the craziest 5v1 too. Just sprayed them all through the smoke. It was the most insane thing ever.
Okay, just go to the next segment.
Okay, so
They
next
didn't have a
segment.
Mongol hate train. It's unfortunate.
Good luck.
We didn't.
We're going
going to right now.
CJ,
Yeah.
why don't we just go ahead, Righty? What do you got for us?
Okay, so I have
Oh.
an issue with the fact that one, I love the Mongols. They're like they're probably my favorite team. I say that I love the Falcons too, but they're up there, and I love watching the Mongols. If the Mongols are playing, everything stops. My whole house is like, hey, we gotta stop. We gotta watch the Mongols play. All right, this is an important thing. And then I watch them play, and I'm like, wow, we used to be amazing. We won events.
It was a
We
good
were
run.
top 4. We were ranked number
think it's
1
plural.
in
I
the
think it's
world
singular.
It's
last
just
year,
event.
and now we're doing dumb stuff. They are running at people. They're challenging the stupidest things. They're not making great plays. There's nothing consistent about them. They're just doing dumb stuff. They throw against Furia, who they had that game locked. They lost 6 rounds straight on 1 overtime, and then just all you have to do is not lose 5v1 to Fallen. Just spray the smoke, do anything, right? But the Mongols, we have
Getting a little heated.
we have some issues, all right, guys. You got to fix this stuff, okay? You're embarrassing me. I'm embarrassed. I can't defend you when you're doing all these dumb things, so you got to figure it out. The guys are just going to roast you for the next 3 minutes now. I don't know what to tell you.
That's a good call. That is
Spot on, CJ.
That's pretty spot on. To me, it's like 9-10 at times looks like a really, really good player. Sinzu, he looked like a really, really good player. Techno, mad inconsistent. Mazzinho feels the same. And it's like, oh man, like you need more pieces. I didn't hate controls. I don't hate the new kid. They don't look bad, but
He's got a cool name.
he does have a cool name. But it's
It's
one
mispronounced.
Zero.
Cobra Zero.
They keep calling him Cold Zero. The caster did that one time too.
it's just one of those where it's like the team just doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good.
Doesn't.
But hey, you know what? In your household,
Yep.
because the whole household comes to a standstill whenever they're playing,
That's right.
you got a lot more free time.
That's a great
A
point.
lot more activities. The wife's probably happy.
I mean, I'm looking at the bracket and like Aurora's just taking their spot right now. Okay, it like should have been the Mongols there. And
Hey,
now it's Aurora. And now it's like
in the legendary mid-off, we have joked that those two teams are interchangeable.
they kind of are.
They both have a singular win. Impressive.
One of them has a bigger fan base though.
Yeah,
And
Turkey.
you've been to the events.
Turkey.
The Mongols crowd that's a crowd buff right there. The Turkey buff is not the same.
Yeah, that
as
might
the
just be like
Mongols.
Twitter bots or something like that.
No,
They got those on lock.
this is real life, real people. No Twitter bot in the arena. You've heard it.
sure.
I know you've heard it. You've
They
heard it.
did get a lot of woos.
They get some woos. They're like phase woos. They're
They're
pretty loud
pretty big
woos.
woos. Pretty big woos.
Everybody was pulling for the Mongols. It was like they were on that run, and like I said a little bit ago, it was nice that it happened, but I think the time might have gone,
Yeah.
come and gone.
They're
It
gonna.
was like the Austin Major dude, they were making a good run. Like you said, everybody was pulling for them. Like everybody in the event was pulling for the Mongols. They wanted them to upset, and then now it's just like
That
No.
dude, that 9-10 ace, that's probably the end. Well, they did win Edith's.
that was right after.
Dude, 9-10 still looks pretty good to me.
He does. He does.
Looks great.
He looks like he could be on an S tier team.
Yeah, but it looks like he's playing alone against 4 people all the time because his 4 teammates are dead because they ran through something or pushed something or whatever. Like
The
it's
good
stupid.
news is that Furia team he was playing looked like a face it pug.
dude.
So
That's
good.
I hate watching Inferno because it's just the banana off. At least that's a better banana off than like we just don't go down banana.
That's
We
true.
just leave banana alone
Just do
because
weird
it's
stuff,
scary.
eh?
Instead of these guys, they got 8 nades over at banana and just chucking them and mollies, and it's like chaos. And you're like, what in the hell's going on, guys?
Yeah.
I know, dude.
But let's close this out with some predictions as we look forward to Cacao. We're going into the bracket. As it stands at this moment, we haven't got the final results for who's going to be the 1 seeds, but it does look like Vitality and Spirit are kind of the big dogs that are probably going to go in with the 1 seeds. We bind that. We think we're going to get the Spirit Vitality final, or do we think we're going to be disappointed again? We're going to get one of them beating the snot out of some bad team.
It's hard to see I don't know what the bracket's going to be, so it's just hard to tell.
Well, if they both
I
win,
mean,
they're going to be on opposite
like-
sides.
Well, yeah, but it's like where is like
It's pretty
Whereas,
much
like,
a
the
guarantee
other
that Vitality's going to make it.
Like-
but like if Spirit's the one,
yeah, so
who's
it's
going to
like-
make it from
like
that?
we
side?
got Mouse and Falcons facing each other. Like who's going to make it from there? Like who's going to be
The
the one
winner of that-
'cause well, I know, but that like really that adds into the predictions. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's
because
Falcons,
one of those is going to be a 2 seed, so they're
yeah,
going
like
to play one
Falcons
of those
make it
ones.
through.
Dude,
All right,
are you
and
pulling
then
a
maybe
flyer?
they're going against. They end up going against the Spirit. I don't know. I mean, Falcons have shown that they can beat Spirit.
Davis,
Like,
are
it could
you,
be a
are you
Falcons
going a
final.
flyer on a Falcons dub on this one?
No,
No Falcons dub.
No.
it could definitely happen, but I'm not going to.
You think they make it to the finals?
So who do you got right now?
I think
Yeah.
Vitality wins.
You got Vitality?
Against who?
Don't know.
Give me something different. Come on.
Why would I give you something different?
Give me something.
You can take the B's.
What?
Take the B if you want the B.
No,
Don't
I'm
take
taking Vitality.
God, what do you?
Well, yeah, well,
I know who
take
you're
the Bs.
taking.
Oh, what do you got?
You love Russians.
Where are you going?
You're a communist.
Where are you going?
Okay, we got to talk about this.
Where are you going?
Where am I going? I like Spirit. I like Spirit. I'm sorry.
can I take
I
that?
just do. I like them.
Can I take the
First
house?
said Vitality. The whole earlier show, he's just like Vitality. Yeah,
I
they're just
know.
winning, they're gonna win everything. They're just
Can I-
winning. Yo, I like Spirit.
I do like
I
Spirit.
like Spirit. Spirit's
I
gonna
mean,
win.
Vitality is the favorite. I'm not. If you were like, hey CJ, here's $1,000, I'd be like, I'll go put that on Vitality.
So you're a
It'd be
bet
fine.
man right now. We're making predictions. We're betting.
So no, just real quick.
I like Spirit.
If the way we're betting right now
I'm a
is
field
it's
guy.
Spirit, Vitality, or the others, and they're equal, can I go the others, or do you go the others then? We got Spirit, Vitality, and the others in the tournament. I'm gonna go with the others.
Yeah. I would
Wait,
go
you're
with it.
taking an Aurora, a Mongolz, a Falcons, or a G2?
Yeah.
Or I guess a
If
Furia.
you're not taking
draws.
Vitality, yeah, I would definitely go with the others.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a lot of hate.
Dude, I hope.
That's no hate. The Spirit are not that good.
That's a lot of hate. That's a lot of hate.
Dog's really good, but
So
their team's not very
the next
good.
part of this was gonna. If I had to go between those two, I'm gonna go Spirit, obviously.
Hell yeah, Spirit boys.
Oh, pick
But-
something different, bro. Pick something different, man.
Nah, they just look good.
It's
They
the
look
same,
good,
bro.
They look good. I'm gonna be right.
Vitality
At that.
look good, man.
Cinderella
They beat
story.
Navi,
Who-
bro.
if you had to pick a Cinderella, who you take?
Aurora, no question.
I agree. I got it. Same.
Aurora, ew.
Cinderella?
Yeah.
They're not gonna win. There's no way.
It's a Cinderella here, CJ,
It's
we're
not
talking about.
gonna happen.
But I just literally said they suck right at the end of my thing there. So I can't. I would go G2.
G2?
That's what I was
Okay.
I was hoping you picked.
Hey, I like. I like that.
The other ones wouldn't be that much of a Cinderella.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Falcons.
Yeah, Cinderella. I love it. You know
it's
what?
not a Cinderella story.
It is.
That's not a
You're not
Cinderella
even
story.
taking them, Davis. What are you
That's not. That
talking
doesn't mean
about?
it's a Cinderella.
It's a good point.
That does not mean it's
They
a
don't
Cinderella.
look good.
They were
How many-
just in the finals.
Yeah, but how many wins does Mondesi have in green?
It's not a Cinderella story.
How many does it have?
Zero.
I want to
It's
look
zero.
and see.
It's zero. That's crazy.
Damn for a cow.
That's crazy. So you
So
would
you
say
just
if
like-
they've never won, it's kind of like a Cinderella run, right?
Not when you have that much talent on your team. That's just.
It shouldn't be, but it is. It's crazy.
No, they were just in the finals. That's no Cinderella. We can't give that to CJ. CJ, pick somebody else. Come on, Falcons ain't an option.
Mongolz.
Oh,
Oh,
you just want to pick the second.
Now
one
that's
team.
a Cinderella.
What do you mean they've won as?
If
they've
you get
won
to
as
take
much as
Aurora
Falcons.
and be good with it, I get to take Mongolz and be good with it, okay?
I mean, they would be breaking the curse. Okay,
Dude,
now
actually,
they have won, but you know.
Now that we think about it, in the past 12 months, you've gotten one Aurora win, one Falcons win with Dexter, and one Mongolz wins at a tournament that nobody showed up to.
Mhm.
So hey, somebody could get their second win, or G2
One
could get
G2
their
won.
second team.
Yeah,
the
one
G2
G2
could
win.
get their second
I
win.
guess so. Technically, yeah. I mean, everybody's won, but it's going to be G2's the Cinderella. Let's just.
Is Furia a Cinderella? Because they could run it.
Nah. They hadn't dropped that much.
Okay. Well, no matter what, it's going to be exciting this week. We're going to get some good matches in. We'll be watching the finals on Sunday closely. Pat's going to tell you via Twitter what he's betting on, so you can get that over there. Other than that, he's going to require me legally to tell you about the Discord. He said he's going to inflict pain upon me if you don't join.
Sound
that,
more
so-
enthusiastic, please.
Well, yeah, when somebody's threatening to hurt you, how enthusiastic could you be?
Well, do you want to keep your life or not, buddy? Come on.
I don't know.
Come
I
on.
would prefer
Tell 'em
somebody
to join the
just-
Discord. Tell 'em to join the
Just
Discord.
join the Discord. It's fine. I'm going to be safe. Don't worry about it. But other than that, we will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.